Okay, today we are doing section 3-4. We're translating words into mathematical phrases, words, phrases, and sentences into expressions and equations. Okay, tonight's homework is section 3-4, page 134, number 1 through 20 all. You do not have to write the actual word problems down. I want you to translate. I guess the first 10 you can write those, but the others that are almost like multiple sentences, you do not need to write those. Coming up on Thursday, period 2 and 4 are having a quiz, and period 1 and 3 are having theirs on Friday. All right, moving on. We're going to look at this warm-up. I was working on this on the last slide. So let's take a minute. I screwed it up, went on pause. So why don't you pause the recording and see if you can do this on your own. Now let's check your work. So remember, we work from the inside out. So I first have to get rid of all the distributing. So I'm going to be distributing the negative, and so that will make it negative 2x and negative 4. Okay, I'm going to rewrite everything else. Now, I have one more bit of distributing. Remember, we don't subtract before we distribute. We're doing order of our operations on this side of the equation. You do order of operations. So we multiply that negative 4 times everything in the parenthesis. Okay. And then I get negative 4. Oh, we haven't done that. I'm sorry. What did we do? We combined our like terms right here. Sorry. We could have distributed at that point, or we could just combine our like terms, which probably makes it simpler. So now we are going to be distributing that negative 4. Negative 4 times negative x is positive 4x. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. And then I'm bringing down the 8 and bringing down the 16. Now I'm going to combine my like terms, the 8 and the 16. That makes 24. And I've got 4x plus 24 equals 16. Subtracting 24 on both sides. Even when I'm doing something simple, I show my property of equality. I've got 4x equals negative 8. Something as simple as this. I'm still seeing people say x equals. I need you to prove it all the way down to the end by dividing both sides by 4. And then you end up with x is equal to negative 2. So that was our warm-up. Pretty tricky, huh? From our last. Okay. So today's, I think I went through this already. Our objective, okay, good, yeah, we did. So let's take a minute and look at some different words we use. Please write these down in your notes. Okay, this is section 3-4, and you're writing this in your notes. So some words we might use for addition, for the plus sign, would be plus, add, increased by, sum, total. We also use more than. For subtraction, we might use minus, subtract, decreased by, diminished by, difference, less, less than. For multiplication, we might use product, subtracted from, also for subtraction. For multiplication, we might have times, multiply, product. Of means to multiply when you see of. Twice means times 2. Divide, quotient. Oops, sorry. Okay, pause the recording and take these down. All right, so I'd like you to write this as well. These are tricky ones. When you have 5 plus x, it means 5 plus x, exactly as written. When it says add 5 and x, remember when you see an and, I take the operation and I send it to the and. Okay, add goes there, 5 comes before it, x comes after. So that means 5 plus x. When we see the sum, when you see the sum, you have to have two things and the action of two things being added together. That's where your parentheses go, the sign goes to the and. So it becomes 5 plus x, okay? 5 increased by x, so I have 5 plus x. Now, when you have 5 more than, every time you see this word, I call this crisscross words. And in my class, I've got a poster of it, but we don't have this, so you might want to put a little post-it on your wall. Okay, 5 more than. When you see the word than, the terms are going to switch places. So it becomes x, 5, and more than means plus, so the way we translate that is x plus 5. Whenever you see than, we're going to crisscross the terms. The second term is going to be written first, the first term is going to be written second. Okay. 5 is more. Now, when you see this, is more than, this signifies a result. Is like your equal sign, so this is actually the symbol greater than, is more than. So when you see is attached to more than, it becomes the greater than symbol. But when you just see 5 is more than, remember, if you just see than without an is, your terms are crisscrossing. Here, it's 5 is greater than x. When you see the is, it signifies that result. Okay? All right, let's look at some with minus. 5 minus x is 5 minus x. 5 less x is still 5 minus x. The difference of 5 and x. Okay, I see an operation sign. I see the word than, and. So I'm sending the sign to the and. What comes before it, what comes after, so it's 5 minus x. Next one, 5 decreased by x. 5 less than x, we're going to do the same thing. I see less than, and we are going to do x minus 5. Okay, x minus 5. Crisscross the terms. 5 comes first, x comes first, 5 is second. With a less than minus 5. 5 subtracted from x, so we have to start with the x because you have to take something away from what you're starting with. Okay, I call these backward words, okay? Take a minute, pause the recording if you need to keep writing these. 5 is less than, and I did want you writing all these notes as well. Is less than is the less than symbol. When than is connected to is, it's the greater than or less than. All right. So now let's start translating. Take a minute, pause the recording, and let's see what you guys can do. All right, let's check your work. So the first one you should have come up with 5 subtract x, the product, it's an operation. I'm sending it to the and. It means to multiply. I've got 10 and y, and we should be writing it like this. A number next to a variable means multiplication. We don't actually need to write that. 20 decreased by a number t. So we're starting with 20, subtracting t. 6 added to the product. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to have to send this over. That's a plus. What comes before it? Oh, that's a multiplication, sorry. And this is an m, so that would be 11m. Okay, and then it says 6 is added to that. So we're going to have to put the plus 6 here. 11m plus 6. quotient of y and 9. So the quotient, okay, it's a operation, and I'm going to send it to the and so I've got y. That quotient means to divide, but we don't really use this division with the two dots. So I want you to start writing that y divided by 9. Use the fraction bar. Okay, we have our first 8 less than 7 times the number. So it's almost like you've got this less than, that means minus, but remember we're going to crisscross whatever that term is versus this term. So how do we show 7 times k? We would call it 7k. We've got an 8, so 8 comes over here. We have the minus sign and the 7k over here. So that's because it is less than 7. Okay? All right. So we have some, turn back to your list of terms. We have some special words within there that signify results, and that is, or the outcome of something, and that one, the first one, it would be the sum. The second one would be difference. The third one would be product, and the fourth would be quotient. It's the outcome of the operation as well as the operation itself. All right. Now, notice the directions here. It says translate each phrase into a mathematical expression. It's not an equation. We can't solve this because it's not an equation. All we can do is translate it, okay? So here we go. Take a minute. Why don't you write these down so you have them for your notes. Pause the recording and write them down. All right, let's check it. So on the first one, we have less than, okay? That means we're going to have some backward words or crisscross. On the right side, I have twice a number, and here I have 6. How do we show twice a number? That would be a 2x. So how are we going to translate that? Because I see the word than, we're going to do 2x. Less than is minus 6. Okay? Why don't you pause and try do the rest of these? All right, let's check it. 5 times the sum. So I've got the sum. I have to send it over. It's a plus sign. I have y. I have a 4. Now, we're going to have to show 5 times the whole quantity. So you have to put that. When it's 5 times a sum or a difference, that sum has to go in parentheses. The next one should be twice the difference. So the difference sign comes over here. It's minus. I have an m first, 3 after. I put it in parentheses, twice the difference. Okay, sorry. The next one, the quotient of 7 and a number x less 2. I'll put these on here. 7 and a number x. So now this one gets tricky. I even get confused. So the quotient, I send it to the and. Okay. So 7, there's my division sign. I have a 7, and then x, and then less 2. I believe we can write that like this, 7 over x minus 2. Okay. Let's see what they do with that. Yep. Okay. The difference of 6 and k divided by 9. So the difference, send it to the and, 6 minus k, all divide, it has to be, that whole thing has to be divided by 9, not k divided by 9, because they're saying the difference is divided by 9. So 6 minus k over 9. Okay? Remember, we're not going to use that division with the 2 dots. 4 times the sum. Okay, send my sum to the and, it's a plus, 12 comes before it, y, and we're doing 4 times. There you go. Okay, now, let's notice the directions here. The directions here say translate each sentence into a mathematical, still just says translate. They don't want us to solve. So there's only one verb there, one direction. They're not saying solve it. So all we have to do, please just follow the directions. 8 less than. Okay, we've got our less than with this part. Okay, twice the sum. 4 and y. Okay, so that's what's getting crisscrossed. How would I show twice the sum of 4 and y? Well, this is going to be 4 plus y. We have twice the sum, and this is an 8, and less than means minus. So now because it has the than, we then have to crisscross. So I'm going to do 2 times 4 plus y minus the 8. Do you see how each side, they swap sides? Is the same as, is, was, will be, is our equal sign, 19. Okay, maybe you want to take a minute and write the next few down and try them on your own. Now let's check our work. I'm going to go in a different color. All right, again we have a more than. Here's 6. Here's x. Okay, so that's just flip-flopping it. X plus 6 is more than. Now, when is connected to more than, it's a greater than symbol. Twice the difference. The difference here, we're going to send it over. 2 times x minus 7. Okay, the quotient, next one. The quotient of m and 3 is 6 less than the product of 10 and m. It sounds very tongue twisty, so we're going to take it one piece at a time. I've got the quotient, I'm sending it to the and. So how would I show m and 3, the quotient of m and 3? We're going to go m over 3. Is equals 6 less than, here's a than, the product of 10 and m. So 6 less than 10m. But because it says than, we have to do 10m minus 6. Okay? Quotient of m and 3. Let's try the next one. 5 less than x. So I'm doing x minus 5 is less than. That signifies the less than symbol when is connected to is. Notice they're using both. And then we have 5 less x. That's straight translation. Okay? Sorry, it's a long one. It's an important lesson. All right. Now it says translate and solve. 5 times the sum. Okay? 5 times the sum. 2 things to do. 1, translate, 2, solve. So I'm doing 5 times the sum of x and 4 is added to 9. And the result is 64. So step 1, we translated, 1 point for that. Now we have to distribute first in order to solve. We're going to combine our like terms, plus 29. I'm subtracting 29 from both sides. Notice I'm showing that property of equality. 5x equals 14 minus 9 is 5. That becomes 15, right? And that becomes 5 minus 2 is 3. Wow, we're getting close, and it's looking like a very pretty number. X is equal to 7. So my solution is 7, and I've translated. I've done both things that they're asking for. Translate and solve. Pause the recording if you need to write that down. Okay, there are 6 more gumdrops than 4 times the number of jelly beans in a bag. Find how many pieces of each are in the bag if there are 46 pieces. All right, so let's say X stands for jelly beans. And I usually call X what they give me less information of. So there are 6 more gumdrops than 4 times the number of jelly beans in a bag. Okay, so and let's say that 6 more than, and now, whoops, here we go. Let's go here. I'm not meaning to give you everything here. Okay, so let's just translate this. 6 more than, it's not together, 4 times jelly beans. So 4 times jelly beans, if we're calling jelly beans X, that's going to be a 4X. That's a 6. Because we have the more than, it's going to become 4x plus 6. Okay, find how many pieces of each are in the bag if there are 46 pieces. So we've got, now why are they doing this? Because we don't know, we know that this is the translation for gumdrops, okay? We don't know how many of each, okay? So if we add jellies plus gumdrops, it equals the total. That's how we're getting that equation. And then we get 5x plus 6 equals 46. Okay, subtract the 6. 5x equals 40. Divide both sides by 5, sorry. And we get x is equal to 8. So we have the ability to find. We have 8 jellies. And then if I substitute 8 in here, we get 32 and 6. That makes 32 and 6. 32 and 6 is 38 gumdrops. Okay? So this is taking it to a word problem. All right, Mark has $13 more than Patty. Patty has twice the money as Jim. Okay, who do we have the least information on? Let's call Jim. Okay, let's call him X. And then it's kind of easiest to do Patty, right? We can call her twice Jim, right? 2x. And then Mark has 13 more than Patty. So it's more than, so we're going to do 2x plus the 13. Now, how much do they have altogether? Let's just put this all together. Together they have 178, so we're going to have to do Jim plus Patty plus Mark equals the 178. And now we're going to put their algebraic symbols. So if Jim is X and Patty is 2x and Mark is 2x plus 13 equals 178. So that's 3x. Let's combine our like terms. 5x plus 13 equals 178. We're going to subtract 13. We get 5x equals 5, 6. I'm dividing by 5, and I get x equals 33. Now, guys, we just found how much Jim has because we found x, right? So if Jim is 33, then 2 times 33, right, would be 66. And this will be 2 times 33 plus 13. That's 66 and 13. That's 9. It's $79. So now the question is, we always go back to it and say, how much Mark has? So we would say $79 is what Mark has. Okay? Make sure you're reading it. You always go back in the end. Okay. It's probably much easier to look at right there. So we're only mentioning in our answer column Mark. And that, my friends, is our lesson. Okay? Have a great day.